Hello, folks. This is Laborin with the Fantasy Grounds Academy. Today I got three distinguished guests. I have Garner, I have Brad, I have Paulette, and we will be talking about GaryCon 16. And that is happening on the 21st to the 24th of this month, 2024, if you're watching this in the future. So I want to discuss a little bit about GaryCon, and I think I'll have our good friend Garner speak on that. He knows a little bit more about it than myself. And then we'll talk about his roles, and we'll introduce both Brad and Paulette and what they're going to be doing there. And at the end, we'll wrap it up with some promo and some charity. So take it away, Garner. Tell us a little bit about the event in general and your role in that, please.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having us here today. And excuse me. So GaryCon is it's a 16-year-old event. This is called GaryCon 16.
Yep.
And it is a celebration of Gary Gygax's life well played. And the way that it actually came about was they had a funeral, and a lot of people, were coming to town because they were all big D&D fans, and they weren't all able to go to the funeral, and so they had a get together where people just got together and played games, and celebrated his life. And this was, just the week after his funeral at the what was the place, Brad?
I believe it was an Elks Lodge, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
I think it was American Legion.
American Legion, that's correct.
Yeah. So American Legion there in Lake Geneva. And so they all were talking. They were like, well, we really ought to do this every year now. And so that was actually GaryCon 0. And then every year after that, they've done the exact same thing, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. This year, it is the largest it has ever been. It probably would have been this large the year that they had to cancel it for COVID the first year. But what you have is multi-generations who come together. It is the reunion for all the people that used to work at TSR, and so they are all there, whether it's Tim Kask or Mike Merles or all of those famous old writers, creators, publishers from TSR. And then you've also got tons of new people that are into it as well. So like one of the most popular groups right now that streams and everything else is called the Legends of Evantris. And, they just had a $4 million Kickstarter go off. So really popular guys, but they are coming, and lots of other people in that same generation. So it is attracting everybody who, is basically involved in Dungeons and Dragons. And this year is extremely special because this year is also the 50th anniversary of D&D. And so there's actually a mini convention the weekend before that has, again, all of the people from TSR and all the surrounding companies that were involved. It's called Founders and Legends. So we'll be there I think it's 15, 16, 17 for that as well. Brad, you're coming for both, right?
Yes. Looking forward to it.
Yep.
Cool.
And Belle, you're coming for regular GaryCon, but we too, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So
not that one, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, we will drag you into things that you will keep coming back regularly for. So it'll be a lot of fun. One of the things that is similar is, as I talk about some of the details, and Brad, feel free to jump in because you've got some historical context too. But the community that is the GaryCon community is incredible. So the same way that we've got a really strong community around Fantasy Grounds and both the Academy and the product as well too. GaryCon has created a community of people that are welcoming, that are totally diverse in what they're interested in. I just got done talking about how you got like the brand new people that are the big wigs, and then you've also got the old school teams, but you've also got Wizards that is actively participating in everything that we're doing too, this year. But that community is something that's really special. And when you go, you're just kind of it's like a big hug the entire time that you're there. So it's really good.
GaryCon, yeah, you spoke about the first GaryCon and how it was just like a week after Gary's funeral. It was also just shy of the release of 4E, and or was it? Yeah, of the playtest or some around that time. Okay, yeah, 4E, and so we were going into the 4E years, and a lot of the OSR was born, in my opinion, of the meetings and greetings at GaryCon, like in those early days. I mean, I think that you cite Wizards, you cite some of the, the streamers and the Kickstarters like of our day that have benefited from the success of 5e. At the time, like strong support for GaryCon from Troll Lord Games and from Goodman Games and DCC RPG. The Road Crew has been a part of making GaryCon strong from the beginning, and Troll Lord especially. And they're like present every year, and we'll have strong offerings this year as well. So yeah, it's a community that is based on, publishing content that we remember and that we love, and that, just invokes not just the nostalgia, but new content. I mean, you look at I won't pronounce it quite right, but Gooey Cube's Kickstarter that kicked off 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah, with the Tower of, please try to say it for me.
I think it's the Gygax, right? So
yes. Funded in 10 minutes. Obviously, all the GaryCon crew out and in support, and stretch goals being tickets at next year's GaryCon. So, I mean, we're going to have that tower live at next year's GaryCon as well, with guest tickets having been sold with Luke and with the Gooey Cube crew themselves. So it's not just, what it was some time ago was very surprising to myself and to my son who attended with me. But yes, it was all the TSR, Old Guard, and they were right there. And that's still accessible, particularly in the seminar rooms and in Lorimer A. But at one time, we were all in rooms together. It was really quite fabulous and really great now. I mean, the location is historic as well, the Lake Geneva, and it has a history that you can research yourself.
That's right. But it was where they had early Gen Con, right? So I think Gen Con 3 was hosted there. That was one of the very first things that was hosted there too. So, yeah.
And of course, with GaryCon, you have the Center Street home, which is often made available. I won't get up, but on my wall behind me, I have pictures of the house and where I put my dice box up against the gaming room door. The house in the basement was a sand table where chainmail was played. And for the 40th, I believe, or the 45th, they brought that table back and into the basement because there was a wooden door on the side of the Center Street house that everybody would come in and out into the basement, so they weren't passing through the house.
Nice.
And it just was written Wargaming Room on that door. And so we all got to see that door. And if you go to GaryCon and sign up for an event that's in that home, they graciously open their doors every year.
We do.
So you can go to the home where Dungeons and Dragons was created. I know I'm taking a lot of time here, but I love the game. I love the history. I love going to Lake Geneva, and it's the 50th. I always like to remember that white box that is over on my shelf, I could pop up and grab, was put together in the kitchen by the family and mailed out. A family made this game for us, and GaryCon is about coming together and honoring that family and the father of that family and every one of that family's friends. So it's great to come.
That's a beautiful That's a beautiful thing because you don't normally get to see that in just any convention. And it's nice that this sort of draw brings in the economy for the local area, and it helps support the people who live in that region. And it also helps people outside. I mean, for myself, I even, Dungeons & Dragons was a very, very helpful tool for me for coping with life and things like that. So that's a really cool thing. So, Belle, what about you? What's your accommodations like, and what are you getting into?
Well, for me, this is going to be my vacation this year. I'm taking my daughter, and we're driving up to Wisconsin, which is a bit of a drive. I am looking forward to a game I'm going to be in with James M. Ward.
Wow.
I unfortunately didn't get a chance to get at Mr. Cask's table, which I really wanted to play that game again with him. I was fortunate enough to play in the year of COVID in GaryCon Online, which was a lot of fun.
So
yeah, I might speak to that because obviously I was associated with GaryCon before I was associated with Fantasy Grounds, and I've been with Fantasy Grounds for like 3.5 years. But I came in right in 2021 whenever that GaryCon got shut down and we weren't able to gather, and it was great to be involved with promotion and event guide and be able to distribute some 90-day trials and get everybody's games online. And we loved being able to support GaryCon, and this is the first time we've been able to return in person since that. But we've enjoyed participating and empowering Ethereal GaryCon, and whether it be on the back end with graphics and promotions or on the front end with licenses, it's been great to support Ethereal GaryCon, but it's going to be great to be back in person. So
yeah, Smiteworks.
Brad, maybe. Whoops, go ahead. Brad, maybe you know about this. I saw something online earlier today about a bench you take your dice to get them blessed.
There is downtown, yeah.
There is a bench, and the same guy who generally rents out and runs Center Street also was key to getting the bench, set up for the city and whatnot. But they will suggest things like that. So I'm as anti-superstitious as they come. So it's a good looking bench. That's it for me. But you can.
I think it's for the amusement.
One of the things that I wanted to say to you, Belle, too, though, about going and seeing people like Tim Kask and Jim Ward and others like that, Ed Greenwood. These guys are all terribly approachable. So if you hang out in the bar area, every one of them is going to be by just to sit down and hang out with people and enjoy their time there. There are a few visitors who, like, this is their vacation as well, and so just like you, they're paying for it, and they're really popular people that are actively on TV shows right now and other things like that. But the idea is that some of those guys, they just want to play, and so they don't mind people saying, hey, but they're not there to necessarily sign autographs and other things like that. But all the old guard, like those people really are. So I'm just saying that for anybody watching this, if you're going, make sure you respect people's boundaries on what they want to do. But I promise you that all of the D&D old guard, they are there to be part of the community, just like the rest of us are too. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any games going on, or are you gonna run anything or participate?
What are you doing, Brad?
Okay. My last talks with yourself and Josh were speaking about some limited space. Okay. But we are prepared, even potentially to run, even if it be in the game board room, some demos of Fantasy Grounds, and we have tons of awesome new features that may very well have been released this week or will be released prior to GaryCon that we certainly want to demo. but we will have a table, like horizontal, virtual table, displaying how you can use Fantasy Grounds at your table with your gaming party, gathering together in person as you may prefer to do, but enjoying the automation and the innovation of Fantasy Grounds at the table. So not only will we be demoing this display at GaryCon, but we will be having one that we will be giving away at GaryCon. So
Awesome.
you'll be able to enter all weekend with your Fantasy Grounds user ID, and we'll be giving it away Sunday morning. So a table for you and your gaming party to enjoy the automation of Fantasy Grounds. Anytime year round, all bands.
So what about the guys who are playing online in virtual GaryCon? Can they also enter with their
Of course, yeah. I mean, I think as long as we'll have, as long as they have a ethereal badge number that we can retain from them, we can make that available to them. We appreciate everyone joining in on Ethereum. I mean, honestly, that it's more than a tradition now. It is interesting, Gen Con just announced that they are doing away with their online feature this year, or their online convention this year. I think, I don't have to make any decisions for Luke and crew, but I do think that the desire for people to commemorate the weekend and commemorate the life of Gary Con is an international affair. I mean, that's another aspect. We have people flying in, people we have met internationally, a community that goes well beyond the United States for Gary Con. So,
well, we literally have them coming from halfway around the world. So in Australia and New Zealand, we have people coming from both.
Yeah, and they were running ethereal events overnight. So when everybody's resting and catching their Z's so they can do another day of gaming, our Australia crew is running games ethereally, and it's pretty sensational, the commitment.
Yep.
Cool.
Right.
So what about you, Garner? Are you running anything, or are you going to play in anything?
Yeah. So I got caught up in talking about the history of it, but what I do is I lead communications for GaryCon, and so that means PR and also managing, when we have special guests coming in, managing some of those events and communications between the two. The biggest one this year, and which actually made me cancel the games that I was DMing, is that we've got Wizards coming with a huge crew. We're very excited to have all of the product team from Dungeons and Dragons. I say all of it, but a large portion of the product team from D&D that are going to be there. So you've got Todd Kenrick, you've got Jeremy Crawford, you've got Chris Tulak, and then so many others. Latia, she's going to be there. She actually got her. I don't want to say that I don't want to presume here. She was part of our original, the GaryCon original streaming crew, which was the Gax Packs. But Latia is a wonderful player and spokesperson, but she manages the entire community for D&D. So she's their social community manager, and she does a great job at that too. But she'll be there. But they're also bringing in a ton of press because this is the kickoff of their marketing year, and so they've announced what I don't know, 10 or so different conventions are that they're going to go to all year long. And this is the first one. And so it is, one of the biggest. And they're also bringing in a bunch of press specifically for this. So we're excited for the whole thing and appreciative that they've made us part of that larger group. It's I think very special for everybody with the 50th anniversary. I think that they recognize that they want to build, more bridges with their players. Not necessarily saying anything about anything that's gone on in the past, but they absolutely want to, keep building bridges. And the team that they've got right now is doing a very good job of it. So definitely excited.
Yeah, I think speaking to that, we've spoken a little bit about the history of GaryCon, and there is history to Wizards of the Coast being involved with GaryCon. And,
Right.
you know, I think that starts the second year that GaryCon was at the Lake Geneva resort, and they came in force. And it was largely, I think, I could be mistaken, correct us in the comments below, but I believe it was AL. I believe it was Adventurers League and Thomas Valley's efforts with bringing in Adventurers League to GaryCon, even with original content and modules, that really got the DMs Guild attention and Wizards of the Coast attention. We flashed for a second. Are we still like live? Like it went black for a second on my end. Okay. So that year, like Perkins was there and Merles was there, and Wizards of the Coast really came out and was supporting con. They brought out Tomb of Annihilation, like dice bags, suede bags. So they have a history of supporting the con. Everybody had various comfortable approaches for conventions in the last 3 years that I think informed a lot of those decisions. It's awesome to have them back. So.
But to circle back to your direct question, the thing that I do every year is I run classic modules, and I do it actually using a tablet that I've got and Fantasy Grounds, and so people can see can actually see the maps and their tokens on the maps and other things like that too. I actually run it usually with Syrinscape as well. And so I've always got, both audio and, visuals from Fantasy Grounds going on at the same time. And this year will be a little bit better with the new integration that you guys have between, Syrinscape and Fantasy Grounds as well, too. So
it sounds so good, too, when it's all done together.
It is. And I wish I could say we had it on sale last week.
Yeah.
But this week that sale is gone. But I'll watch for upcoming sales and events in March and April. So, or get on over there now. It does require a subscription to Syrinscape, but it's so worth it. Like you get their library, you get their sounds, you get their environment effects, you get their music, and a lot of sound sets are pre-built for you. But if you have that subscription, the entire library is open to you. So like you can like have a map where as you're doing your story, maybe you just have the birds come in. And then maybe as you're talking about the village, you have the village sounds come in. And then as you drop the map, you like get some not some battle music, but some, market music playing, You can build up environments
Alexa, light on.
so quickly through the controls that are actually built into Fantasy Grounds. So really
If
a great.
player's taking too long, put some chirping sounds of crickets.
There you go. Yeah, you could.
So this is one of the available modules on Fantasy Grounds as well, but it's a classic. So this was a module released in 2004 called Crypt of the Devil Lich, and it's published by Goodman Games. And it was a tournament module. And so I also like running tournament modules at conventions because usually they can go faster. People are trying for the max points and other things like that too. So the farther they get in the adventure, the more points that they accrue and whatnot. But there are a ton of great modules like this. This one is actually, you guys have it on both DCC and
both DCC RPG and 5e.
Yep.
Yeah. And you were talking about the classic modules. I don't know if you just meant classic feel. I believe you mean the TSR and AD&D Adventures as well. And Fantasy Grounds, we are the home of classic D&D and D&D classics officially online.
You are.
Just a large library of Gary's titles, of the rule sets, of all the modules that we come to Lake Geneva to play.
You can play and run OSR. You can play and run, 2E. you can play and run. You can play and
Castle
run.
Crusades.
Yep, Castle and Crusade 3,
Some
5.
other retro clones, OSE, yeah, well supported. DCC RPG and Mutant Crawl Classics for the road crew.
Yep.
Crews. Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's cool.
But I am going to be running that at the weekend before at the what do you call it? The Founders and
Legends.
Yep.
Founders Legends. That's right.
Cool. Sounds fun. Are you guys going to meet up and hang out, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I figured you would, but.
Oh yeah.
So I'll be probably very busy, but I've always got time for friends. You know, when we're there. I mean, that's part of the part of the charm of all of GaryCon is all the people there and being able to hang out and have fun together and talk about whether and most of us have stories of people who are friends who have passed on and whatnot, but really the theme is, or the motto is, a life well played.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're there to celebrate, all of these people who have enjoyed that. And so it's like I said, it's a great environment, a great community for us to do that. We do have some events that are going to be I think busier let me just explain. So like Magic the Gathering, and all of us were talking about Magic, before the stream went live here, too. So we all kind of got our toe in the water related to Magic the Gathering. But one of, Gary's youngest child, Alex, has always been into Magic, and he has a fantastic collection. And perennially, he runs a cube draft, which is a specific kind of game, Magic game, and it is awesome. But we're expanding what we're doing around Magic. Wizards is helping; they're supplying prizes and other things like that. But what we've got is Peter Atkinson, the original CEO of Wizards of the Coast, who obviously bought TSR originally, and he is the guy who originally published the game itself, Magic the Gathering. Garfield was his game designer, who helped him out with it. But Peter had a major hand in that. But in addition to Peter was Peter's father, Gary. So yes, different Gary, but Gary Atkinson instead of Gary Gygax. But actually, Peter and Gary Gygax were friends, and that made Gary Gygax and Gary Atkinson friends as well, too. But Gary Atkinson didn't really understand everything that Peter did, but he did understand and commit to participating with Magic the Gathering. And so Peter's dad was heavily involved, but his dad wasn't doing well at roughly at this time last year, and so we all got together, and specifically Luke and Peter got together, and they said, we're going to set up a tournament in honor of your father and all that your father has done to help design and move Magic the Gathering along. And we did that. We created a tournament that was based on a way that Gary Atkinson wanted to play. And so a couple of months later, though, Gary Atkinson passed away. And so it's obviously been a very special time in a sad way for the Atkinson family, but also we turn this into a incredible memorial tournament, and Peter is has jumped in with both feet. This past weekend we've had a number of different gunslinging events where Peter's playing a friend of his and is advertising for the Magic the Gathering events that we're going to have there. But if you come and you have any interest, even if you're just brand new to it, we can teach you how to play. But Peter is going to be doing more gunslinging events at GaryCon itself, and by that we mean like a showdown in a dusty western town, just the two of you, and only one's going to survive, right? But Peter has every original pre-configured deck that Wizards released. So he's got like 40 of these things, and he's going to bring them all, and he'll choose one, and then you can choose one. You can choose an anti-Peter deck if you want, but you will get to play against the CEO, the first CEO of Wizards, the guy who was heavily involved, with D&D and the middle years of D&D, and so then there is the tournament Saturday afternoon, which is the Gary Atkinson, the Gary Atkinson Magic the Gathering Memorial Tournament. And yeah, try to say that a lot of times fast, right? But it is going to be a special format, and we'll be releasing in this week and next week. We'll be releasing all of those rules for people to understand and be able to see how to play that as well. But that's a special event that we certainly encourage everybody to jump in and play. And even if you don't get Peter's gunslinging events are already signed up, but even if you didn't get to sign up for his gunslinging events, you can still hang around, and when games end early, you'll be able to play in a game against him. Just being there in person, you can get in line and still play him too. So and there is still room in the Memorial Tournament too right now, and there are some fantastic prizes. I mean, hundreds of dollars of prizes, and you don't have to pay to enter the Memorial Tournament. So anyway, it's going to be a great time. So
amazing.
Yep.
I'm making a note to myself so that way I can let my daughter know.
Yeah.
'Cause she's a player.
Great. So why don't we talk a little bit more too about some of the other things that Smiteworks and Fantasy Grounds has done and been involved in, and what we've got in the way of some giveaways and other things like that too. So,
cool.
If you register with a badge, you will be able to have a 3-month subscription to Fantasy Grounds. So that applies to all all GaryCon attendees. So both virtual and in person attendees as well. They've been Smiteworks has been a virtual sponsor most of the year. So I say most of the year. Kind of our year starts really in July and August, late July and August, for doing streaming and other things like that. And so we've had Smiteworks as a sponsor the entire time, and it's been great because we've been running almost all of our games on the Fantasy Grounds platform. I run them, and G-Rex, Greg Haven runs them, and Chuck occasionally jumps on with us, Chuck Cumbaugh, Castles and Crusades games, and
Ultra Lord crew, just dropping that name, supporting GaryCon just like they have from the beginning.
Yeah, I've done a couple myself, so it's yeah.
Yep. So we have them involved, and to go along with the Smiteworks, Syrinscape turned around and matched that and said they're going to give them a 3-month sub as well too. So you can get a free month with Syrinscape by signing up, but they matched it with a 3-month. To make it a
wow.
That's our friends at Syrinscape.
Nice.
Yep.
It's a great
Right.
partnership.
Yeah, it's a great partnership with them, like just development-wise, being able to offer those sound pack links to their great content. They've put in so much effort to make our games great, and we love connecting with their work.
So I have to get the entire, what's the something siren sub?
Super Siren.
Super siren sub.
Yeah. Super.
Because I do, I don't have my books out anymore, but I've got, I do Call of Cthulhu, I do Starfinder, I do, even when I do things that you guys don't have out yet, like I do the Temple of Elemental Evil. I mean, we're not allowed to publish this, right?
We'll never see it.
But I've got the whole thing done, and so if somebody's bought that, somebody can reach out to me, and I don't mind sharing that with them. They have to own 2 things. They have to own the OAR, the original Adventure Reincarnated version from Goodman Games, and then they also need to own Fantasy Grounds. But if they own those things, I don't mind sharing it for free so that they could run all of the Temple of Elemental Evil. But my point is that they're things that Syrinscape can't or doesn't publish other things for. We don't have sound packs for yet, but they've got so much music that if you just get all of those sound packs, you can cover any genre, any adventure that you've got. They've got more than enough stuff to handle almost everything that anybody wants. So
yeah, I might just mention how the sound packs links work as well. Like you can pull up the and Leroy may demonstrate this, but he has check out his videos on the Syrinscape sound pack. But you can take right from their directory that appears in Fantasy Grounds and drag the play button right onto your map, and it'll drop a pin. You can have different environmental sounds in the rooms, and when you click the pin and they go in that room, it opens right up in the player. You can have sound events in there. So in Fantasy Grounds, you can virtually take any element and pin it to your map and to your image. It's no different for the sounds, and they instantly start playing whenever you click them. So
people and Aaron and I, Leroy and I have done a lot of comparing the different platforms and other things like that, but there really still isn't anything that helps a GM or DM save time in prep, or save time in running it with the abilities that we got with prep, in Fantasy Grounds too.
Well, and enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
A little bit less stress, a little bit more participating in, you want to talk about how important role playing is to many people's games. Like bringing automation as a GM allows you to participate a lot more effortlessly with that role play. The narrative
it lets a lot more happen in a game session if you're running virtual games.
Yep.
So,
I like the idea that I don't necessarily have to have an internet connection because, that's not always reliable. And even if you can't do all the sounds and stuff, you still got your library, right? You don't have, and you can get a TV and hook it up, and there you go. So even if you don't have internet, you could still play, which is one of the biggest draws for me, anyways, for using a platform like Fantasy Grounds.
Yep. And one other thing that's going on too that's related to Smiteworks and Fantasy Grounds is that Greg Haven, G-Rex, is actually running all the, he's in charge of all the virtual games that we're doing this year too. So again, G-Rex he's really well versed in all the different types of and platforms, and for years was my right hand man before he kind of took it and ran with it, but demonstrating all those other rule sets at the Fantasy Grounds Academy on our platform too. So we've got we are well represented as users and fans of Fantasy Grounds, at GaryCon. So definitely.
That's great.
G-Rex, I just want to speak to G-Rex. He's a champ. He is doing conversions for Troll Lords right now.
Nice.
He did a lot of organized play for us and continues to do our monthly Fantasy Ground game day.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday of the month.
Right? Crazy thing, we grew up 2 towns away from each other, but didn't meet each other until we were working with Fantasy Grounds.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He put together some really good events for us, and he's done and still does volunteer work in the academy, so he's a really great guy. But guys, I want to cut this short, or at least, I don't want to, but I do want to mention our charity. So we do have a charity we want to mention. This is actually one of the main reasons we're doing this is not only just for GaryCon, because that is kind of a memorial thing, but we also want to promote the wellness and the health of children. And in their local area, they have a Wisconsin Children's Hospital. And I want Garner to kind of speak on that, please.
Yeah. So for a number of years now, we've chosen Children's of Wisconsin as the beneficiary of our charity auction. And so we do a fantastic charity auction every year. Last year we raised over $50,000 for Children's of Wisconsin. And this year it's one of the great things that we've got going on is we're expanding to have a virtual silent auction. And so everybody across the world, we mentioned, Brad and I were talking earlier about how this really is a worldwide thing, but you'll be able to get, classic signed copies of different things and some incredible products by participating with us. So we definitely want everybody to join in and pay attention. There's more information on the GaryCon website, GaryCon.com, and we're going to have
You'd be surprised how often those products are from private collections and quite novelty. Like you will never find them again.
No, absolutely, and so these are incredible items that you can get and will be treasures for you, for the rest of your life as well. But what you're really doing is you're taking care of kids. And with Children's Wisconsin, it's been a great partnership for a couple of years running now, and we are excited to take the challenge of raising even more money this year. And so if you are able, please join in. It is Saturday afternoon. I think it starts at maybe 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. So that'll be the first, 22nd, 23rd, right? So March 23rd, Saturday afternoon, about 1 o'clock, maybe just a little bit after that. But the silent auction probably opens earlier that day, and you'll be able to start paying attention to that too. But would love to have everybody watching and participating in it. We will be streaming it live on GaryCon Live Twitch channel. So
great. I'll make sure I have the links for this information in the description on the video. So afterwards, once I clean this up and get it posted, so this will be live this coming week in the future. So if you guys are watching, it'll be this coming Friday. And Paulette, do you have any last words you like to say?
I guess it helps I've turned my mic on. I always say the mic's going to be the death of me. If you see me, if I'm in a game, let me play. But afterwards, I am so looking forward to meeting the community, because this is going to be my first time since I started at Smiteworks that I'm going to a large convention. So please come up, say hi. I'll be running around with my Fantasy Grounds t-shirts on. So will my daughter. So you get to meet Junior as well.
Great.
You got a Hawaiian shirt right behind you.
Yeah, that's actually her shirt. But yeah, we'll be wearing those on Saturday.
Nice.
That's awesome.
This is another one of the
cool
Fantasy Grounds shirts.
Our Fantasy Grounds community may not know, but Saturday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. Gary Gygax regularly Hawaiian shirt, but so I've got at least 3 to choose from myself too. So definitely excited for that on Saturday too. So
well, I'm going to wrap this up. I want to say right on, folks. I'm really proud to be associated with you guys. I'm really happy with what you're doing. I like that you're able to represent the community. You're representing GaryCon, you're representing Smiteworks, you're representing yourselves as just a human being, and I really appreciate that a lot. I'm really proud to know you guys. I'm proud of what you're doing, and I think that this event is going to be great this year. Bravo! My hat's off to you.
Thanks, Layron.
And to you. Thanks for all you do for Fantasy Grounds.
And one thing that I can say is all 3 of us are extremely approachable, and I don't just mean that we're friendly when you approach us, which we are, but Layron will have our contact information, in the notes below too. Everybody can reach out to us directly. Garner at GaryCon.com. It's not hard, and we love to hear from everybody in the community. So
perfect.
Thanks, Layron.
All right. I guess that's it. Okay, guys, have a good one. Have fun, and I'll see you around. I'll pop in occasionally, and if you need any moderation on anything, let me know. I might be able to come in and moderate on the online forum thing or on the Twitch. So let me know.
Great. All right.
They wouldn't have the volunteers.
Yeah, exactly.
So, thanks so much.
Okay, you guys, take care. Bye-bye.